streaming will be shorter because we had problems with connection. Briefly explain what are we talking about today. Today we will remember our gorgeous wedding what they made in Rome for our beautiful couple, Maxim and Daria. We made it in Rome last September. Okay, guys, is it now better? And in this streaming, we will remember and will try to reflect on this wedding, and maybe our foreign brides can grab some tips from it. So now I'm introducing Daria, and I ask her to join our streaming. This couple permanently lives in London, and that's why we decided to do this streaming in English. And now I'm inviting Daria. Good. Waiting for Daria. And can you hear me now? I can hear you as well. Can you hear echo?
A bit, but not strong. It's fine.
Not strong. Okay, let's proceed. Since my goal is that you speak, not me, more, because it was your wedding, and we said that we have been preparing for a year, and before the wedding, we started to set it up 3 days before. We had it on 7th of September, and we arrived on 3rd. They said that they can't hear Daria well.
Yeah. Is it better like this? Should we just speak louder?
Hey.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Now better.
Good.
Okay. And did you know, Daria, that we counted that more than 300 persons were involved in preparation of the wedding during whole preparation time and the setup dates themselves. I remember that we started it with publishing something online. So there was a place where all the guests received information and tips how to arrive in Rome, how to spend the leisure time, the transfer, etc. What was it?
Right. So we decided that it would be easier if we create our own website, and if we to save the invitations quite in advance, so that people would kind of plan their holidays, save the date, obviously. So this was done in advance, and then obviously having this website, we were able to publish the brief program of how the event will happen. We also had some recommendations on the flights, on the things to do in Rome. So yeah, it was a very nice tool for everyone to get organized and for everyone to forget that the event is happening.
Good, and we also communicated with all the guests, right? So we elaborated all the requests that arrived. And that was the tool to communicate and to bring information to your guests. And probably let's say a couple of words about the venues. What goals did you have? What requirements the venues, especially for the hotel and the city itself?
Right. So when we were choosing the place, obviously we considered other countries than Italy as well. So it was.
That is very for interrupting. Can you just make the volume louder of your microphone?
Is it better?
Not yet. Maybe something stays in front of the microphone, or I don't know.
This is it better? Nothing.
Okay. When you bring your telephone higher, maybe you can use earphones as well.
Right. I would need one.
So your microphone will be closer to you. Good.
Right.
Sure.
1 minute.
No problem. Guys, if you have something to ask us, because that was a really beautiful wedding, 2 days wedding, actually 3 days, and there were 3 venues, 3 different programs, welcome dinner, wedding itself, and then the Sunday breakfast. If you want to ask something, how to organize wedding if you live not in Italy, because our agency, we're all from Russia, and we moved to Italy because we love it, and we understand how foreigners work in Russia and what do they think when they organizing something abroad. They tell me that there's always a pro. I hope a lot. It's not because of my earphones. Waiting diary here. Guys, I hope we will improve everything soon. It seems that when Daria takes her earphones, it will be much, much better. So a couple of minutes of your patience, and we will take away this terrible echo.
Sorry.
Yeah, here we are.
Hi.
Here we are.
Right. Is it better?
I can hear better. You?
Same for me, but if it's better, then I was running.
It's definitely better, okay, because we took away this terrible echo, and now with pleasure we can talk about your wedding.
Right. Then it was me.
Nice. No problem. So we stopped on the weddings, on the venues, and later, obviously, I will ask you why Italy. But first, whatever country it was, obviously you had some requirements for your wedding. What was it?
Right. So, as most of our guests, they were flying from Moscow or from London. So we wanted to have convenient flights, quite frequent ones. We wanted to have the direct ones as well. So this was probably one of the main requirements. And then, well, as I've said, the event took place for 2 days. So we wanted to have a nice hotel to accommodate everyone. So it was kind of, we had to find a nice property, nice hotel as well for 2 days, and with a nice space as well, because the pre-party, the welcome party happened in the hotel as well. So these were probably 2 of the main requirements, but as well, as I've said, it was for 2 days. So on the second day, there was some free time. So we wanted our guests to enjoy themselves, to have a nice guided tour or something, just to have some free time in the nice place as well.
Do you think Rome is perfect for that? Is it a big city?
Obviously, it was like more than perfect. Everyone
and
had
we also
something
organized,
to do.
And we also organized a guided tour for you guests, right?
Exactly.
We
had
announced
the guided
it on
tour, yes.
Walking guided tour. We announced it on the website. They could make their request, and before the wedding, just spend a couple of hours watching Rome, watching its beauty. Good. And you said your welcome party was exactly in the hotel. Was it convenient for you not to bring your guests to another venue?
Of course, it was super convenient, and also it was a nice thing because initially I thought that the best idea would be to have the main event in the same building, in the same hotel. But then I thought that it will not, I decided that I would like to have a secret place. So the welcome party itself is better to be in the hotel while everyone stayed. It was very easy because everyone arrived on Friday. The event took place on the same day, the pre-wedding. It was very cozy, and we wanted to make it quite informal and nice. So that's how it happened. And it was also very convenient because, well, you cannot predict the weather really. So our space was an open one. And obviously we had a plan B. So if there would be rain or something, there was a nice room inside as well. So it was super convenient, yes.
Great. And it was a themed party or just a party?
Yes, it was a white party. It sounds very simple, but it was beautiful. It was amazing because actually the key is that all the guests followed the dress code. And our decor, it was a bit of, so everything was white. Everyone was wearing like full white clothes. And we had some red spots, like red flowers, red napkins, some pillows as a decor. And everything looked like super, super beautiful. And myself, I was wearing, yes, thank you. It was not white though. So my dress was, if you remember, it was white with red flowers. And then Maxime
you had to be different.
Yes, exactly. And Maxime had a red flower here. So we were a bit different, but still in the theme, like we had the white color. So yeah, it was really, really beautiful.
You mentioned one interesting thing, that you wanted the main location of the wedding to be a secret one. It was an initial desire, or you thought about it once we selected your wedding, chose it?
Well, there were several stages when when we were planning it. Like super, super initially, I thought that it would be nice if everything would be in one place. But then after we started looking for venues, and after I chose PALAZZOEVENTI as the wedding planner, I already decided that the secret location would be the best thing, because I already knew that I would like to have the welcome party in the same place, and I would like to save this secret thing so that everyone would be excited and everyone asked me 1 billion questions that I wouldn't answer. So I really like the idea that no one actually knew what's going to happen and where it will take place.
So no images on invitation cards, nothing, definitely nothing, just Rome, and that's it.
Exactly.
And this location, being secret, should be very appropriate to be secret. It should be gorgeous, majestic.
Exactly.
And it's your turn to name the location.
Right, so it was Villa Aldobrandini.
It was Villa Aldobrandini.
In Frascati, yes.
In Frascati is the very closest suburb of Rome, and it is the only private papal residence, which is how many years old?
How many? I think it's from 1,500 something, is it?
Exactly, it is 1550, so it's more than 400 years old. And this was the event. So obviously, how many guests have you had on your
So it
wedding?
was 92.
Well. Almost 10. And obviously, this villa hosted dozens times more guests previously, but this was almost the first event of such a scale. We built a stage, we brought LED screens, huge LED screens, we put a lot of illumination there, and that was gorgeous. But about these details, probably we'll talk a bit later. I would like to ask you the very initial question that probably is the most important for foreign brides that are now choosing where to go, which country to choose for their wedding. Why Italy?
Right. So as I've said, I had several options, and I started looking for venues before I found even the wedding planner. So I was considering France was one of the top options as well. But then after I started looking for the venues, and after I seen a lot of videos from your website as well, from the weddings that you've done, I thought that Italy, as for me, it's a bit closer to my heart. It's very romantic. The food is good, so you cannot go wrong. The wine is amazing. And then there are so many things you can do, and the weather should be perfect. So it was just something that I felt that is really, really for me. And then, as I've said, in terms of food and some of the organizing parts, it's very easy because like Italy is amazing in that. So
really?
Yes.
Yes, in some aspects it is. But as I remember, Rome, you choose Rome accidentally. So you were planning to do it very, very far away from Rome, still in Italy, but where?
Right. So again, there were several stages there. Initially, I saw everything in Tuscany. I saw this is the perfect place to be, in the vineyards, so romantic, so nice, somewhere far. And then the problem was about the flight convenience. So we talked with Victoria, and she said that especially if we have some old people coming, like grandparents, it wouldn't be, we don't have direct flights. So it wasn't the best option. But then I was looking, but still I was kind of considering this. And then I've seen some videos from PALAZZOEVENTI of the weddings that you've done. And there was one that I truly, I felt it with my heart. It was the one on the Garda Lake although I didn't consider to be it on the lakes at all because it's quite popular within Russians. So I wanted something different. But then when I saw that one, I was like, okay, that's it. I don't want to see anything else. I want this place. I know it will be there. And even when we came to do the first seeing of the venues, I told, well, my husband now, so it was from Friday to Sunday. I told him, okay, there is no point for you to come on Friday. We'll just see something in Rome. Like, no point. Just come straight to Saturday because we'll see the perfect place. And
So he
apparently,
didn't come.
he didn't even see
didn't
it.
come.
Exactly. I was there with my mother, came as well. So I was there with my mother. And the funny thing was that Victoria was saying that, okay, we'll see the place on Garda. It's all fine. We even decided to see the hotel where we will accommodate everyone.
She
But
insisted.
then, yeah, she was like, okay, this is fine. But then she was like, okay, if we're coming there anyway, we're coming through Rome. Like, we'll be in Rome anyway. Why don't we see something there? I was like, okay, just to be sure that I know that we made the perfect choice, but just to make sure, just to see different places. We saw two other places. One was Villa Aurelia, which is very beautiful, but I didn't really feel it. And then Villa Dobrodini, funny enough, I think you haven't done anything, any event there as well before. You just heard because you had a potential client or
It was,
something.
We discovered it, even we discovered it for the first time. So we knew about it. It was in our database and we knew about it. But once we arrived, I think even like you, we arrived on its terrace and we saw Rome in front of you, like if it was
exactly
like if you were in a museum. So you were not exactly in Rome, but you had Rome in front of you
underneath,
underneath as a backdrop of your ceremony, of everything.
It was crazy, yeah. And it was very funny because when we arrived there, obviously the villa is facing the view. It's on the hill, so there was a very beautiful view of Rome and of Frascati as well. And there was a small area a bit lower, and then Victoria and I were like, okay, this is perfect, we'll put the tent here, we'll do everything there. And then it appeared that it was just the parking space, and we're like, okay, let's see what's there inside then. If this is the parking space of this venue, we don't even know what's going to be inside. So
parking space, you mean the part where we did the ceremony, right?
A bit lower, if you remember, a bit lower. I think they put some of the fireworks construction there as well. But it was very funny because we didn't even realize it was a parking space.
So the thing is to make site inspections everywhere where your wedding planners or maybe your idea, your imagination suggests you, because you never know. But by the way, have you reached Lake Garda after that, or your preferred venues in Tuscany?
No, well, on Saturday, yes, we came to Garda. We saw the venue, which is beautiful. I don't want to say anything, but it's just not the same
island,
thing.
Right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then I was super impressed by the hotel. It's called Byblos Hotel, very close to Garda. I was like, okay, this is very beautiful. I would probably come there on the vacation or something because it is beautiful. But there was not that wow effect. It was not something that special. It was still something on the lake. You can see the picture of that. So it was not something that I expected probably to be, but yeah.
Great. So funny situation, but finally you've got the location of your dream. You mentioned a couple of times that there were some very important, very substantial tips, advices of your wedding planner. We are very proud that we were a wedding planner, but when you decided, definitely, when you assumed the idea that you needed a wedding planner, and why you chose Palazzoeventi? Probably you had another variants, alternative variants previously.
I did have some, yes. So as I've said, I started to look for venues. I quite like control everything. So I started to look for venues by myself. I even started emailing. Yes, I even started emailing them and having all the quotes and everything. But then there is just too many things, like you cannot do it by yourself. There are so many tips, there are so many things you have to know. Like for me, it's impossible. If it's more than 20 people, like there is no, like you cannot really do this. You do need some professional help. So I did have some options of the agencies, but then it was really, there was someone who and Palazzoevenти was on the list, but it was not
Mm-hmm.
the first top choice, probably because
Wow.
I wasn't super familiar with everyone, so I was just comparing. And then there was just someone that advised to my
Mm-hmm.
mother, and then she
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, she met with Victoria, and then she was like, okay, maybe you have to talk with her, you have to see what they've done. And
Mm-hmm.
then I remember I haven't talked to any agency before, so you were actually the first agency that I've talked with. And
Wow, we
then
convinced you.
yeah, and then I saw all the videos and everything. I was like, okay, that's it. It's going to be easy. So there was not really a choice there. It was very obvious for me.
Thank you so much, Daria. And returning to the villa itself, I would now spend just a minute to remind our followers who are watching us that we're talking with Daria. Hi, Daria, and greetings to your husband. Already, I can call him groom Maxim, and we're reflecting on, we're remembering the beautiful, very beautiful wedding in Rome, and giving some tips to our foreign brides how to prepare a wedding in Rome, so huge and gorgeous like yours. And turning to villa, it was absolutely majestic, but were there enough as facilities like I don't know, even restrooms or possibility to host everybody in inner space as a plan B, or technical support, technical setup already installed, or how it happened, how many details we had to foresee?
Everything, because there was nothing. So there was literally nothing. There was only the beautiful space, a beautiful view, beautiful area as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the villa, the rooms were super nice with a lot of works of art and everything. But in terms of facilities, there was nothing. There was no lights, there were no toilets. We had to bring them. We had no, well, we did have plan B, but we couldn't, in case of the rain, we couldn't host it inside because there was not enough of space. So yeah, there was nothing. So we had to bring everything, furniture. The only thing is that the catering company, the villa had its own catering company, although we had to adjust it quite a lot, but still it worked well. But that's it. Yeah, there was nothing.
Yeah, and the catering company is owned by the countess that
Right.
owns this villa, and she was present on your food tasting, you remember?
Yes.
Did you like your food tasting? Is it did it suit you immediately, or you needed to make some corrections, or?
Right. It was a very interesting story with the food tasting as well, because obviously living and working in London, we couldn't just come to Rome all the time. So the first food tasting we saw the menu. So the lady sent us the menu. We thought that, okay, it's not super perfect. We don't really like it, but let's see what it is. And then Victoria, actually, your colleague, she came there and she did the tasting, and she was just sending me the pictures. And I was like, okay, it might taste good, but it looks awful. So that was the problem. So what we did, we had, and thanks to Palazzoeventi, because you had a very nice conversation with the countess and you could convince her. So basically what we did, I created the menu myself with quite an easy ingredients, and I sent the pictures, and they agreed on that. They confirmed that they can do this. So then we did come to the tasting, which was already the final one. Basically, it was a couple of months before the event, and then we had the tasting with the dishes that we created, and it's tasted amazingly. As I said, this is probably one of the advantages of Italy, because the food is good, the ingredients are good, even if the dishes don't look as amazing as I would, for example, want them to be, they easily adjusted it for us. So
that's perfect. That's perfect. So in
so
Italy,
it worked well.
no one will serve you bad food. The food will
exactly.
will be perfect anytime. And you said we needed to bring everything, but you also mentioned the plan B. And the plan B, in our case, was probably the thing that most of the brides don't want on their weddings, because when they choose Italy for their weddings, they choose its nature, they choose its beauty, etc. And we celebrated, we did your wedding in the, how to call it, backyard of the villa.
Yeah.
Kind of, because your guests discovered villa gradually. First, they
Right.
arrived and saw the gorgeous view, and we had ceremony. Then we passed through the villa for aperitif time, and then they came out to a back garden that is called Ninfeu. It is very beautiful. With this 400-year wall with statues, and that was the place for the dinner. But that was in the same time that was the place for Plan B.
Right.
Under the sky, and if it rains, what could happen if it rains?
Yeah, there was a big issue with that because, as you said, we chose the place for the view and the backyard, how you call it, like it was with the fountains and with the big statues. So the only plan B that could be there was to put the big tent. And because the room, as I've said, the room inside the villa was not large enough to accommodate everyone in case of rain. So it was a problem because we couldn't even imagine how this would be, because this would kind of close the view of all the trees, of all the toppings. So it was obviously not the preferable option. And we were, if you remember, we were like, all of us were controlling, well, not controlling the weather, but trying to see every hour. We're checking the forecast, we're seeing what is happening. And then because we had a chance to cancel the builders and the workers coming and installing the tent, but then it was a bit too late. And then a couple of days before, when it was the deadline to say if we're putting the tent or not, we checked the forecast, and some of the sources said it's going to rain, some said that it's not going to rain, so we didn't really have a choice. So
this tricky forecast.
Exactly.
It was absolutely clear for these days. And on the day X, you decided to...
It was not me, apparently.
It was really? Not me. It was that was the detail that I didn't know.
It was a big surprise for me because we did put the tent. That's it. Like the tent was there.
I mean we decided to put it because the forecast was not so certain, not so sure.
Exactly.
Some resources show the rain exactly on the wedding day, and since we brought it already on the venue on site, we decided, okay, we cannot ruin the work of a year and your wedding. That is the main point, and we decided to put it, and we almost finished all work. So we put the flooring, we put the all technical equipment on it. It remained only to do the rehearsals, and you thought that the marquee was there, right, when you arrived on the day of your wedding on site.
Yes.
You remember how we conducted you to your room where you
and I remember
makeup?
Yes, and everyone was saying, because it was on the 3rd floor or something inside the villa, and then everyone was like, my mother was like, okay, there is a surprise, just don't look outside. And I thought that maybe there is an artist or something, so I was super curious, but I love surprises, so I was like, okay, I will not look there, that's fine. But then I didn't, like, at some point I even looked outside the window, but I was very, well, not nervous, but I was super excited. I was like, okay, it's the tent. Then I was thinking, the tent is actually quite good because I couldn't really see it.
Really?
So it was exactly. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's not that bad, because I was quite depressed about the fact that we had to put it and ruin everything. So yes, and then if you remember, at some point I was like half dressed, I had some makeup being done. So I was I was just asked to come and see outside. So I came outside, I didn't even realize. So I was just standing and looking, and I couldn't believe, because the weather was beautiful, and then I just realized that there is no tent, and it was impossible.
And then the villa looked like you saw her for the last time. So when you arrived last time, the previous time before that, you found villa obviously without flooring, without technical equipment, this stage, this LED walls, etc. But it was like you expected it, right?
Right. So I came and there is no tent, and there is no. It was a huge shock for me.
We were very, very happy to make you this surprise, that we obviously agreed with your parents first, and we did it on the in the evening before the wedding, when it was completely it seemed completely impossible to to dismantle it because we already have the flooring equipment, everything installed. And if you don't know the process, I'm now talking to our future brides, or for all followers. The procedure is to put first the flooring, and then the tent itself, and then to put under the tent technical equipment, install everything, then do the rehearsal, and then conduct the wedding. We already did. We almost did everything, and
Right.
in the night, I don't even remember this time. So we turned on the lights. I don't remember where have we found them, because we had to switch off the generator, and we very accurately dismantle this tent. So we were very happy, even we to do this surprise for you. But
Right.
talking about the program, because we already talked a lot about the preparation, I think the most important detail of that was that your guests participated on the program. You remember,
Right.
because we obviously before the wedding we started very in advance. We start sending you the wedding schedule, the wedding program with schedule of toasts, everything, and we had to do it, but we had two versions of it: one for us, for our internal use, and one for you, for you and Maxime. Can you explain why?
Right. Yes, it was not unexpected, because I know my friends and I know my family, and I knew that there are going to be some surprises there. So, but obviously we couldn't, like, it would be impossible for us to know what is surprise, because it wouldn't be surprise anymore. So we had to worked on the order of toasts, and we knew who is going to talk, who is going to say the toast or to make something, but we didn't know exactly who is going to make a surprise. So basically what happened, right? So some of our guests in advance, they told you, the organizers, that they want to make a surprise. They want to, someone was singing, someone made a video. So there were a lot of parts actually in the program, and we had no idea what's exactly is going to happen there. Yes.
Yeah, and what happened? What happened that your friends were divided in groups. So actually, almost all your friends participated, and even your parents and Maxime's parents prepared the gifts. I mean,
Right.
the songs or gorgeous videos, and I think at least half of them was a surprise for you, because we
Right.
had this very potential setup. We could show everything, video, films. We can make them sing like superstars on this huge stage with microphones and sound amplifications, sound amplification, and they were superstars of this
They were indeed.
wedding.
Yes, indeed. They
Yeah.
were.
By
Yes.
the way, who's the host of your wedding? Because
So
our followers have to know that mostly Russian weddings, we call a host for them to conduct it, to announce the toasts, to make some interactive, to interact with the guests, etc. In your case, who was it?
yes, there was a very obvious choice. So it was Zhenya Poplyashvili, who is quite a famous dancer and host as well in Russia. But my mother is a dancer, so he
Oh,
became
really?
our, yes. So he became
I
our
didn't know that.
family. Yes. So that's how we know him, because she used to dance with him as well at some point. So that's how we know Zhenya. And then he's hosted, my mother's seen some of the events that he hosted. So he knows the family. He was very interactive, and also the very big advantage was that he obviously was present on the welcome party, so he already met all the guests, And on the event itself, he also conducted a master class, if you remember. So it was kind of a flash mob. So he actually made everyone dance with the very funny moves, and literally everyone, every single guest was involved, which was
even
yeah,
grandmoms and grandpas and everybody. I have
right.
never seen so many guests. Obviously, I have seen dancers, professional dancers, dancing in such a big group, but I have never seen dancers. I mean, guests of a wedding dancing all together, all together.
Right.
No,
Yes.
Jenny he's perfect, and he warmed them up already on the welcome party. So on the wedding, they were already warmed up. Everybody probably knew some dancing combinations.
Right. Yes. Yes. It was. I think it was a very good decision to have him on the pre-wedding party as well, because it was a great opportunity. He wasn't really hosting anything, but he was there, so everyone could meet him, and he's a very nice and open personality as well. So everyone could have a chat, and it's like he made it all very warm, very accommodating itself as well. So
the idea is to invite the host, if you invite him to conduct your wedding, not only for the wedding party itself, so the most important, the most part of your event, but also for the welcome party. So he becomes familiar.
Yes.
Yeah, he becomes familiar with your guests, and everything goes smoother.
Right. And that was our idea. We wanted it to make very like a family style, because it was not huge. It was not really huge. And all the people that were invited were very close to us. So we wanted it to be, so everyone should be very familiar with each other, and like it should be very easygoing. So that was the idea. And that's how it all happened, really.
Good. Before we start our last part of our conversation, we call it quiz. So there will be some short questions that you obviously don't know, and you will need to respond them very quickly. I know that there's a thing that you want to tell to our followers, and you want to remember it every time. Who sang on your wedding?
Yes, the best part of the wedding. Yes, it was Manatik. It's the love of my life. Oh my God, I adored him. Even when I met him, before he came to the stage, obviously, we were asking if he wanted to talk and to kind of to have a conversation to meet him. I remember that after the wedding, Victoria sent me some videos. I don't even remember. I was somewhere. I was in Nirvana. I couldn't believe this was actually happening. And oh my God, he was amazing. And even there were some people who were a bit older who were not familiar with him. Everyone said that the atmosphere, the energy was crazy. And even the young people who were not kind of big fans of him, everyone started listening to Monatic. But like, he was great, the dancing moves,
So let's tell our followers who is Monatic. Probably not everyone, even especially our foreign listeners, know who is Monatic. He is a very famous Ukrainian, how to call him, singer, rapper, dancer. And you dance with him on the wedding.
Yeah.
You climbed up on the stage and danced and sang with him.
Well, yeah, there were like two dances. One, he invited myself and Maxim, and it was like a slow dance, super romantic. And the other one was, not that romantic. It was a bit more energetic, and it was just myself with him, yes.
Like all your wedding. It was very energetic.
Right.
Being romantic, it was energetic.
Yes, it was indeed.
Good. So let's start your quiz. Are you ready?
I feel like at school. Yes.
Yeah, couple of rules. So 5 minutes, 11 questions. They will be short. Your answers cannot be so short, but we have to try to fit 5 minutes with all the 11 questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Great. So first questions. 3 synonyms of the word Italy.
Of wine, food.
Good.
Wedding.
Nice. The second question. 3 signs that he's going to make a marriage proposal.
I mean, pictures on the phone. being nervous.
Okay.
And trying to organize a surprise dinner, maybe all the relatives coming before in advance and saying, good luck to you, you know.
Great, great. Third question. Associating of the word family, explain in 30 seconds.
Family. Family is home, is something that should be always there for you, something that is very close to you, something that you can rely on, very cozy, very warm, very something very, it's your home, it's something that accommodates you, accommodates your needs, and that's it's the people and the place where you want to be in and with.
Great. Fifth question. No, fourth. Quick tip on choosing a wedding planner.
I just go with your heart. Just talk with people and go with your heart.
Great. Fifth question. 5 tips for brides planning their wedding abroad / in Italy.
Right. So the first one is, as we've talked before, to see the venues. And then even if you, it's like the wedding dress, you think that something will fit you, but it's actually almost never does. You go with a different style. So you have to look for the option that would are not your top choice. So you really have to go there. The other one is you have to control everything, but at some point you have to kind of relax and to trust your wedding planners.
Good. Third?
The third one would be to believe that there is nothing impossible. So if you choose the venue without anything in this, that's all fine. Exactly. Yeah. If it seems that it's impossible, it is actually possible. There are, like, you can do something, you can create something, you can think about something. The other one would be try to make it as personalized as possible. Obviously, wedding planners are there to help you, but you have to bring something of your own. You have to, like, for example, on our wedding, we had our own aromas. If you remember, we had even as the...
like the farewell gifts.
Exactly. We gave the farewell gift. It was the candles with our aroma. And then that aroma, we also tried to spray it in the bathrooms, in the areas as well. So it was something about us. And I chose it personally. And
great. And the fifth?
And the fifth one, what would it be? Just try not to
just
fight.
Something that comes to your mind.
Yeah, and try not to fight with anyone. You cannot do. Yeah.
Nice.
Just like
the sixth one. Does the length of dating influence a decision to get married, and why?
I don't think so. I think you should, obviously, you have to know each other long enough to understand that you're going to spend the life with this person. So probably it's not 1 year, but I've been with my husband before we got married for 10 years, I think. And I knew that we're going to be married at some point, but when we started dating, we were kids. So I think it should be longer than like a certain super short amount of time, but then obviously just you just feel it. That's it.
Great. The next one, 7th, your wedding in 5 words.
Manatic. Gorgeous.
Okay.
Family, atmosphere, friends, energy, love. There were more
that
than
was
5
the 7th,
words.
8th.
Yeah,
okay.
Fine.
Nice. The next question. And if Maxim described it?
I think he would say well planned. He would say manatic.
Okay.
He would say black tie. Big thing. So the dress code. He would say food and wine and music. Yes.
very, very manly things. The 9th question. Your first thought on the day after the wedding?
I was sleeping. I couldn't think of anything because I couldn't sleep. I was so excited. I couldn't sleep for 2 days. So, but then, yeah, I got everyone was obviously texting me, messaging, calling, and I was just still in shock. I think still, because like the time passes, but still we posted the memories, pictures and videos afterwards. So still now, a lot of my friends and family, they still rewatch photos and videos. So I still receive these messages and I cannot still let it go. So for me, I'm still in the vibe of the wedding.
Great.
Although it's
Even
been a while.
how 6 months later,
Even more, yes, even more.
okay. 10th one, the most powerful emotion of the wedding.
I cannot say. It was like the whole thing itself, the most powerful
Describe
of the
it
wedding.
generally.
It was the whole thing. It was being excited but not nervous, being in the very warm atmosphere,
Okay.
feeling that it's like all the friends and family are the super close ones. So it was the atmosphere. It was, as I've said, it was the family atmosphere, and at the same time, it was indeed the best day of my life. So the energy was there, the music was amazing, and
Great.
everything was perfect.
The last one, 3 wishes for future brides.
Stay strong.
Good.
Try to enjoy it, even when it's tough to get ready to prepare it, because it's your day, and at some point it will be the best day of your life.
Nice. And the third one?
As I've said, try to personalize, try to be involved, and try to be engaged in every stage. That's what I would say.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I'm so touched. Thank you, Daria. I think we have to move to the end of our streaming. To have possibility to save this streaming and to publish it later in our account. We're very grateful for you being with us today, and I hope that the streaming was useful and you grabbed some tips from it. We push you all our love, all our warmest wishes, and we're missing you a lot.
Yeah,
and
I miss you guys.
Yeah, thank you. And maybe the last thing that I wanted to say to you guys, to everybody of you, that Italy is still waiting for you, still waiting for your weddings. I hope, and I'm almost sure, that everything will improve very shortly, and we will see you together again. And if you have further questions for us, or maybe you desire to see somebody from some area of wedding business, some expert, just text us. Or if you have further questions to Daria, just text us and we will respond to you with pleasure. Thank you. Baci, baci.